AITA for refusing to take back my cheating wife after she left me in front of our kids? I'm Daniel Miller, a 34-year-old man, and until recently, I was married to Paige, 32, for 8 years. We have 2 children, Lily, who just turned 7, and little Noah, who is 5. Those kids are my entire world, which makes this story even more painful to tell. Paige and I met in college. She was beautiful, ambitious, and seemed to genuinely care about building a life together. We got married right after I passed the bar exam and started as an associate at a mid-sized firm specializing in corporate law. The first few years were great. We were a typical young couple, a small apartment, secondhand furniture, but happy. When Lily was born, Paige took her maternity leave from her job and decided to stay home. I was working insane hours trying to prove my worth at the firm, but Paige seemed content being a full-time mom. That should have been my first red flag. Paige had always been very career-focused, always talking about climbing the ladder and making good money, but suddenly she was perfectly comfortable depending on my rookie lawyer salary. Looking back, I think she saw being a lawyer's wife as her ticket to a comfortable life and thought I'd be making a partner's salary within a few years. The reality was different. Becoming a partner isn't a guaranteed promotion based on seniority. It's extremely competitive, and there are no promises. I was pulling 70 or 80-hour weeks, taking every case I could, building client relationships, while Paige was at home growing more and more frustrated with our financial situation. The complaints started small. Sarah's husband just bought her a new car. The Johnsons are renovating their kitchen again. Lily needs new clothes, and everything at the good stores is so expensive. I tried to explain that these things take time, that I was working towards something bigger, but Paige's patience was wearing thin. When Noah was born 2 years later, things got worse. Suddenly, we had 2 kids, more expenses, and Paige was constantly comparing our life to her friends who had married doctors, investment bankers, or men who inherited family businesses. She would scroll through Facebook and Instagram, showing me pictures of their vacations, their houses, their fancy date nights. "Look at this," she'd say, shoving her phone in my face. "Kelly and Mark just got back from Italy. Their 3rd trip this year. When was the last time we went anywhere nice?" I would remind her that I was working toward making partner and that these sacrifices would pay off eventually. "Eventually isn't good enough," became her favorite phrase. The real trouble started about 2 years ago when Paige joined a mom group at Lily's school. These weren't just any moms. They were the wives of the town's elite. Doctors, business owners, old money families. Paige came back from her first meeting buzzing about their lifestyles, like she had discovered a secret world she deserved to belong to. "You should see how these women live, Daniel. They don't worry about the grocery budget or whether they can afford dance lessons for their kids. They just live." She started dressing differently, buying expensive athletic wear and getting her nails done twice a month. When I questioned the spending, she'd get defensive. "I need to fit in with these women. It's networking. It's for Lily and Noah's future." But it wasn't networking, it was status anxiety, and it was consuming her. Paige started volunteering at school events, always trying to keep up appearances with the wealthy moms. She'd bid on items at auctions we couldn't afford. She threw extravagant birthday parties for the kids that put us further into debt and constantly wanted to update things in the house to match what she saw in her new friends' homes. "We need to remodel the kitchen," she announced one day. I was embarrassed to have the bake sale committee over here. "Our kitchen looks like it's from 1995. "Paige, we can't afford a remodel right now," I said. "Maybe in a couple of years." When you maybe make partner." "Daniel, it's been 6 years. How much longer am I supposed to wait for you to actually succeed?" That was a gut punch. I was killing myself at work, missing bedtime stories and weekend games, all to build the career that would one day give us the life she wanted. But apparently, I wasn't moving fast enough. Around that time, Paige started mentioning Robert Whitman a lot. Robert was in his late 30s, divorced, and owned 3 luxury car dealerships in the area. His son Connor was in Lily's class, and Robert was always at school events, charming the moms and throwing money around like it was nothing. Robert offered to fund the entire playground renovation, Paige would say excitedly. "Just like that. $20,000. No big deal. Robert is taking Connor to Disney World for the 3rd time this year. First class, staying at the Grand Floridian." Robert said the funniest thing at the fundraiser. I started to dread coming home because I knew another glowing report about Robert's latest display of wealth would be waiting for me. But Paige insisted they were just friends, that she was thinking of Lily and Noah's social connections. These are the kinds of people our children need to know, she'd say. The breaking point came last month. Lily had been selected for the school's advanced reading program, which meant she could attend a special summer camp at a private academy. It cost $2,500 for one child, and Noah could attend a junior version for $1,800. We have to do it, Paige insisted. All the advanced kids are going. Lily is going to be left behind socially and academically if we don't invest in her future. I looked at our bank account. We had maybe $800 in savings. Paige, we literally cannot afford this right now. We'd have to put it on credit cards. Other parents invest in their children's education. Other parents might have different financial situations than we do. That's when she snapped. Different financial situations? You mean they married men who actually accomplished something? Daniel, Lily is 7 years old, and she's already asking why we don't have a nice house like Connor's dad. What am I supposed to tell her? That her dad isn't successful enough to give her the same opportunities as her peers. I tried to stay calm. You tell her that her dad works very hard and loves her very much, and that there are more important things than money. Paige laughed. A literal laugh. Easy for you to say. You don't have to face all those moms every day, pretending we're not the poor family at the school. Do you know how humiliating it is to always be the one who can't contribute to the big donations? The one who has to ask for payment plans? The one who buys school clothes at Target while everyone else shops at Nordstrom? There's nothing wrong with shopping at Target. There is when you're trying to maintain a certain image. That conversation ended with Paige storming off to spend the evening texting, probably complaining to her friends about her failure of a husband. What I hadn't told Paige was that 3 weeks earlier, I had been called into the senior partner's office for a life-changing meeting. After 7 years of grinding, working weekends, and building strong client relationships, they were offering me a junior partnership. The pay increase was substantial. We would go from my salary of $95,000 a year to $185,000, plus a share of the profits that could add another $50,000 annually. I should have been celebrating. I should have rushed home to share the news with my wife. But something stopped me. Maybe it was all the conversations about money, all the comparisons to other men, all the digs about my lack of success. I wanted to see what Paige would do if she thought our financial situation wasn't going to get any better. I wanted to know if she married me, or the idea of what I might one day earn. So I told the partners I needed 2 weeks to think about it. They were surprised but agreed to wait for my answer. Over those 2 weeks, Paige's behavior grew progressively worse. She stopped hiding her friendship with Robert. She started going to school committee meetings that curiously took place at expensive restaurants. She'd come home smelling of wine and talking about Robert's latest business success. Robert is opening a 4th dealership, she announced one night at dinner. He's thinking of expanding into luxury boats. Apparently, there's a huge market. Lily looked up from her spaghetti. Mommy, who's Robert? He's a friend of Mommy's, sweetie. Connor's dad. He's very successful. Noah, who is 5 and has no filter, piped up. Is Robert more successful than Daddy? Paige looked at me, and I saw something cold in her eyes. Robert has achieved more financial success, yes. Paige, I warned. What? It's the truth. The kids need to understand that success comes from hard work and making smart choices. And what choices have I made that were so wrong? I asked, knowing I was walking into a trap, but unable to stop myself. Well, you could have gone into corporate law at a bigger firm. You could have specialized in something more lucrative. You could have been more aggressive with networking instead of just putting your head down and hoping someone noticed your work. All of this was in front of our children, who were watching their parents discuss Daddy's failures over dinner. Lily looked confused and upset. Noah kept eating, but I could tell he was processing every word. That night, after I put the kids to bed, I made a decision. I was going to tell Paige about the partnership offer and see how she reacted. But first, I wanted to test something. I got some news from the firm today, I said casually as we were getting ready for bed. She looked up from her phone. Oh yeah? They're restructuring some of the associate positions. Some people are getting laid off. Her face went pale. You? I'm safe for now, but they made it clear that opportunities for advancement are going to be pretty limited for the foreseeable future. Budget cuts. It was a lie, but I needed to see her reaction. What I saw broke my heart. There was relief that I wasn't fired. Yes, but there was also resignation and something that looked like contempt. I see, she said simply and went back to her phone. In the days that followed, Paige started texting a lot more. She was always on her phone, smiling at messages, stepping outside to take calls. When I asked who she was talking to so much, she gave vague answers about school stuff or planning Lily's birthday party. Lily's birthday party. That became Paige's obsession for the next week. She wanted to rent out the community center, hire a professional face painter, a bounce house, and invite Lily's entire class, plus all the parents. This is going to cost over $1,000, I pointed out after seeing her planning notebook. Lily deserves a nice party. All of her friends have had elaborate parties. I'm not going to be the mom who gives her daughter some cheap celebration. What about a party at home? We could have a barbecue in the yard, games, maybe a small bounce house. Our yard isn't big enough, and our house, she trailed off. But I knew what she was thinking. Our house wasn't good enough for her new social circle. Paige, we literally cannot afford this party. Then maybe you should think about how to increase our income instead of always telling me what we can't do. The passive aggression was becoming unbearable. Every conversation somehow ended up being about my insufficient earning ability. 2 days before Lily's birthday, Paige dropped the bomb. I came home from work to find her in the kitchen, more dressed up than usual, applying lipstick while checking her appearance in her phone's camera. Where are you going? I asked. Robert is taking me to look at venues for Lily's party. He offered to help with the planning since he's organized so many events for Connor. He's taking you? Just the two of you. It's not a big deal, Daniel. He's just being nice. But it was a big deal, and we both knew it. This was crossing a line from friendship into something else entirely. I don't think that's appropriate, I said. Why? Because you're jealous that another man can come up with better party ideas for our daughter than you can. There it was, the word that had been hanging over our marriage for months. Provide. It all came down to what I could or couldn't provide. I'm concerned that you're going off alone with another man to plan our daughter's party instead of planning it with me, her father. Oh, please. You don't know the first thing about hosting. When was the last time you planned a social event? When was the last time you did anything to improve our family's social standing? I saw her putting on a pair of expensive earrings I didn't recognize. Where did those come from? Robert gave them to me as a thank you for helping with the school fundraiser. They're just costume jewelry. They weren't costume jewelry. They were clearly real diamonds, probably worth more than I made in a month. Paige, this has gone too far. You can't accept expensive gifts from another man. They're not expensive, Daniel. This is what normal people consider a small gesture of appreciation. Maybe if you moved in higher income circles, you'd understand that. She left to go venue hunting with Robert, leaving me to pick up the kids from daycare and figure out dinner on my own again. That afternoon, while Noah watched cartoons and Lily did her homework at the kitchen table, I made a decision. I called my firm and accepted the partnership offer. The paperwork would be finalized in a week, and my new salary would start immediately. But I didn't tell Paige. I wanted to see just how far she was willing to take this. I didn't have to wait long. Paige came back that night, glowing with excitement about the perfect venue Robert had found for Lily's party. A ballroom at a country club that cost $1,500. Not including food or decorations. It's beautiful, Daniel. Lily will feel like a princess, and all the parents will be so impressed. We can't afford $1,500 for a 7-year-old's birthday party. Robert offered to cover it. The words hung in the air like a grenade with the pin pulled. Absolutely not. Why not? He can afford it, and he wants to do something nice for Lily. Because accepting that kind of money from another man is inappropriate, Paige. How do you not see that? What I see is that our daughter deserves to feel special on her birthday, and you're more concerned with your ego than her happiness. We argued for an hour. Paige accused me of being controlling, jealous, and holding our family back with my limited mindset. I tried to explain that there are boundaries in a marriage and that accepting expensive gifts and favors from another man crossed them. Finally, exhausted, I said, Paige, do you even want to be married to me anymore? She was silent for a long time. Then, I want to be married to the man I thought you were going to become. 3 days later was Lily's birthday. Paige had booked the country club venue behind my back, saying Robert would handle the payment. She had ordered elaborate decorations, hired entertainers, and invited 25 kids plus their parents. I found out when Lily came running to me, excited. Daddy, Mommy says my party is going to be at the fancy place where Connor had his, with princesses and face painting and everything. I looked at Paige, who avoided my eyes. We need to talk. The party is tomorrow, Daniel. I'm not canceling it now and breaking Lily's heart just because you can't handle accepting help from a friend. A friend doesn't pay for other people's children's birthday parties, Paige. A friend does when he cares about the family and has the means to help. That's when Lily, precocious as ever, asked the question that shattered everything. Mommy, why doesn't Daddy have enough money for my party? Paige looked at Lily, then at me, and I saw her make a decision, the wrong one. Because Daddy hasn't been as successful in his career as other daddies, sweetie. Some men work harder to provide for their families. Lily's face crumpled. She looked at me with confusion and something that broke my soul, disappointment. Is that true, Daddy? You don't work hard enough. I knelt to her level, trying to keep my voice steady while rage burned in my chest. I work very hard, Lily. I love you and Noah more than anything in the world. And I work every day to take care of our family. But why don't we have as much money as Connor's dad? Before I could answer, Paige cut in. Because Daddy chose a job that doesn't pay very well, and he hasn't been promoted like other men his age. Just then, Noah, who had been coloring quietly, started to cry, not because he understood the conversation about money, but because he could feel the tension and see Lily's distress. I pulled them both into a hug, trying to comfort them while Paige stood there, looking more defensive than remorseful. It's okay, I whispered to them. Mommy and Daddy are just talking about grown-up things. You two are the most important things in the world to us. But the damage was done. Lily kept asking why we were poor, why Daddy's job wasn't good enough, why other families had more money. Noah was clingy, sensing that something was deeply wrong. That night, after spending 2 hours reassuring the kids and putting them to bed, I confronted Paige. What you said to Lily today was unforgivable. I told her the truth. You told a 7-year-old girl that her father is a failure. You made our children worry about money and feel ashamed of their family. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you, Daniel? We're living paycheck to paycheck while my friends' husbands are buying them cars and taking them on European vacations. Lily's classmates live in houses 3 times the size of ours. I am tired of pretending that this is okay. So you've decided the solution is to humiliate me in front of our children and take money from another man? The solution is for you to face reality. You've been at that firm for 7 years, and you're still making the same salary you were as a first-year associate. Other lawyers your age are making partner, buying property, securing their families' futures. What have you accomplished? I took a deep breath. What would you say if I told you I was offered a partnership? She laughed. Not a chuckle. A full-blown laugh. I'd say you're lying to try and win this argument. And if I wasn't lying, then I'd ask why you haven't taken it yet. But Daniel, we both know that's not happening. Your firm keeps dangling the partnership carrot, but they're never going to give it to someone like you. Someone like me? Someone who doesn't play the political games, who doesn't network with the right people, who thinks just working hard should be enough. That's not how the real world works. I went to my briefcase and pulled out the partnership agreement I'd been carrying around for a week. I laid it on the kitchen counter. Paige's face went completely white as she read the letterhead. Junior Partnership Agreement. They offered it to me 10 days ago. The salary is $185,000, plus profit sharing. I also get a $25,000 signing bonus. She stared at the paper, then at me. Why didn't you tell me? Because I wanted to see what you would do if you thought our financial situation wasn't going to get any better. I wanted to know if you loved me, or if you loved the idea of what I could give you financially. The kitchen was completely silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. You've been lying to me for 10 days. I've been testing you, Paige. And you failed spectacularly. Testing me? Who the hell do you think you are? I'm your husband. Or at least I was, until you decided Robert Whitman was a better provider. Then the tears started. Not sad tears, but angry, frustrated tears. This changes everything, Daniel. Why would you put me through this when you knew things were going to get better? Because things getting better financially doesn't fix what's broken here. You told our daughter that her father wasn't good enough. You accepted expensive gifts from another man. You've been planning to leave me for someone with more money. The partnership doesn't change any of that. I wasn't planning on leaving you. No? Then what was tonight's dinner conversation about? What are the expensive earrings and the private venue hunting trips with Robert about? She couldn't answer because we both knew the truth. She had been lining up her exit strategy for months, aligning her upgrade to a wealthier man. Daniel, listen. I know I've made some mistakes, but some mistakes? Paige, you've been emotionally cheating on me for months, while making me feel like a failure in front of our own children. Those aren't mistakes. Those are choices. The next day was Lily's party. Paige was frantically texting Robert, trying to sort out the payment issue now that our marriage was on the brink of collapse. I solved the problem by calling the country club and paying for the entire thing myself with the signing bonus. Lily had her princess party. The kids had a great time, and all the parents were suitably impressed. But I spent the whole event watching Paige and Robert interact, the familiarity between them, the inside jokes, the way he would touch her arm when he spoke to her. After the party, as we were cleaning up, Robert approached me. Daniel, right? I don't think we've been formally introduced. I'm Robert Whitman. He stuck out his hand like we were at a networking event, not like he'd been pursuing my wife for months. I shook it. I know who you are. Look, I hope there's no awkwardness about me helping out with Lily's party. Paige mentioned you were dealing with some financial constraints, and I just wanted to help out another parent. The condescension was unbelievable. This man had spent months undermining my marriage, buying my wife expensive things, and now he was talking to me like I was a charity case. How generous of you, I said evenly. Though I should mention, the financial constraints have been resolved. I just made partner at my firm. His smile faltered slightly. Oh, well, congratulations. Thanks. Paige will fill you in on the details. I walked away before he could continue, but I saw him go straight to Paige, undoubtedly to ask what she meant about the partnership. That night, after the kids were asleep, Paige tried to start a conversation about moving forward and rebuilding our marriage. She had clearly processed the news of the partnership and realized her exit strategy had become quite complicated. Daniel, I know things have been difficult between us, but now that the money stress is resolved, we can work on us. The money stress was never the real problem, Paige. What do you mean? I mean, you were perfectly willing to destroy our children's sense of security and their relationship with their father because you thought we didn't have enough money. That has nothing to do with financial stress. That has to do with who you are as a person. That's not fair. I was just frustrated. You told Lily her dad doesn't work hard enough. You made Noah cry because he felt the tension and disappointment. You accepted gifts from another man and went on what were essentially dates while married to me. The partnership doesn't erase any of that. She tried a different approach. I can see why you're hurt. But Daniel, marriage is about forgiveness. I made some errors in judgment, but I love you and I love our family. We can get through this. Errors in judgment, Paige? You spent months building a relationship with another man while tearing down your husband in front of your own children. That's not an error in judgment. That's emotional abuse. The word abuse hit her like a slap. I never abused anyone. You systematically undermined my relationship with my children by making them think their father was a failure. You made them worry about money and feel ashamed of their family. If that's not emotional abuse, then what is? The conversation went in circles for hours. Paige alternated between downplaying her behavior, blaming me for testing her, and making promises that things would be different now. But I had seen enough. The partnership offer had revealed something essential about my wife's character, and I couldn't unsee it. 2 days later, I filed for divorce. Paige was in shock. She had clearly expected the partnership news to fix everything, that we'd move to a bigger house, and she'd finally get to live the lifestyle she wanted as a successful lawyer's wife. You're destroying our family over this, Daniel. Think of Lily and Noah. I am thinking of Lily and Noah. They deserve better than to grow up in a home where one parent thinks the other is a failure. I don't think you're a failure. You told our 7-year-old daughter that I don't work hard enough to provide for our family. You told her some men work harder than others, implying I'm lazy. You made both our kids worry about money and feel ashamed. That's not how someone who respects their partner talks. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Paige hired a lawyer and immediately asked for 50-50 custody, alimony, and half of everything, including my future earnings as a partner. But she made a critical mistake during the custody evaluation. The court-appointed child psychologist interviewed Lily and Noah separately to assess the family situation. Lily, being 7 and brutally honest, told them exactly what had happened. According to the report, Lily said, "Mommy told me Daddy doesn't work hard enough, and that's why we don't have enough money. It made me sad because I thought Daddy didn't love us enough to work harder. But then Daddy said he works very hard for us and loves us a lot." Noah, despite being only 5, had absorbed more than we realized. He said, "Mommy says Daddy's job isn't good. Mommy's friend Robert has a better job. Mommy likes Robert's job more than Daddy's job." The psychologist also interviewed the children about their daily routines and discovered that Paige, so focused on her social climbing and relationship with Robert, had been neglecting basic parental duties. Lily was making her own breakfast most mornings because Paige was sleeping in or at the gym. Noah was watching hours of television every afternoon while Paige was on the phone or texting. During the custody hearing, Paige's lawyer tried to paint me as a workaholic who neglected his family for professional ambition. But when the judge read the children's statements about what Paige had told them about money and their father's worth, the narrative completely shifted. "Ma'am," the judge said sternly, "can you explain why you felt it was appropriate to discuss your husband's alleged financial shortcomings with your young children?" Paige tried to deflect. "Your Honor, I was just trying to help them understand why we couldn't afford certain things their friends had. By telling them their father doesn't work hard enough," the judge pressed. "I was frustrated, Your Honor. The financial stress was affecting the whole family. And you felt the solution was to undermine the children's relationship with their father?" The judge clearly wasn't buying Paige's excuses, but the real turning point came when Robert Whitman was mentioned. Paige's lawyer made the mistake of arguing that she deserved primary custody because she had a support system that would provide stability for the children, including friends who could help. When pressed, they mentioned Robert's involvement in Lily's birthday party and his mentorship of the family. I saw Paige's face fall as she realized what was coming. My lawyer had done her homework. She presented evidence of the expensive earrings, the private dinners, the constant texting, and Robert's payment for Lily's party. She framed it as a pattern of Paige prioritizing her relationship with another man over her children's emotional well-being. "Your Honor," my lawyer said, "Mrs. Miller has been so focused on pursuing a relationship with Mr. Whitman that she lost sight of her children's needs. She made them feel ashamed of their father and their family situation, causing them genuine psychological distress, all while accepting expensive gifts and favors from another man." The judge asked directly, "Ma'am, what is the nature of your relationship with Mr. Whitman?" Paige faltered. "He's a friend, Your Honor. A parent from my daughter's school. A friend who buys you expensive jewelry and pays for your daughter's birthday party. He was just being kind. And during this very kind friendship, did you discuss with Mr. Whitman your dissatisfaction with your husband's ability to provide for the family?" Paige's lawyer objected, but the judge overruled it. Paige had to answer. "We may have discussed family stresses. Family stresses caused by your husband's alleged inability to adequately provide. Yes. And you also discussed these concerns with your children, correct?" Paige realized she was trapped. "I may have expressed frustration, but I never intended to harm my children." The judge looked over the documents in silence for a long moment. "Ma'am, the evidence suggests that you have consistently prioritized your desires for a more affluent lifestyle over the emotional well-being of your children. You made them feel ashamed of their father and insecure about their family's stability. You pursued an inappropriate relationship with another man while you were married. You accepted expensive gifts and allowed him to pay for family expenses. And most disturbingly, you involved your children in adult conflicts in a way that caused them real distress." Paige started to cry, but the judge wasn't finished. "Mr. Miller, on the other hand, has been working to provide for his family while maintaining appropriate boundaries and prioritizing his children's emotional needs. The fact that he was offered a partnership but chose to observe his wife's behavior before revealing this information demonstrates a remarkable amount of restraint and insight into the family situation. The judge awarded me primary custody, with Paige getting supervised visitation on alternate weekends until she completed family therapy and demonstrated she would not continue to undermine the children's relationship with me. Paige was also ordered to pay child support based on her earning capacity, which the court determined was higher than her current part-time job, since she had chosen to stay out of the workforce while pursuing other interests. The request for spousal support was denied entirely. The judge stated that the inappropriate relationship Paige had pursued during the marriage and the emotional harm she caused the children made her ineligible for support. Walking out of that courtroom with primary custody of my kids was one of the best moments of my life. Lily and Noah would live with me full-time, in a stable home, without hearing derogatory comments about their father. Paige was devastated. She had lost her kids, lost her meal ticket, and was now facing the reality of supporting herself without the partner-level law firm income she had been counting on. But the story doesn't end there. A week after the divorce was finalized, Paige found out the hard way that Robert Whitman wasn't the prize she thought he was. Apparently, his interest in her was specifically because she was a married woman who was dissatisfied with her financial situation. Once she was actually available and in need of financial support, he lost interest very quickly. Paige called me 2 weeks after the custody ruling, crying and asking for another try. "I made a mistake, Daniel. I see that now. The kids need their mother, and we were a family. We can't try again, Paige. You made our children feel ashamed of their father because you thought we didn't have enough money. When you found out we did, you wanted to come back. That tells me everything I need to know about your priorities. That's not true. I love you and the kids. You love the idea of being married to a successful lawyer. It's different." She tried to reconcile several more times, even showing up at my office and at school events. But I had seen who she truly was when she thought I couldn't provide the lifestyle she wanted, and I couldn't forget it. Lily and Noah are thriving now. They live with me full-time in a house I bought with my partnership bonus. It's nothing too fancy, but it's ours, and it's comfortable. They see Paige every other weekend, and she has completed the required therapy. But the supervised visitations have been extended because she still makes inappropriate comments about money and daddy's success in front of the kids. Just recently, Lily asked me why mommy doesn't live with us anymore. I told her that sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt the people they love, and when that happens, families have to change to keep the kids safe. But you would never hurt us on purpose, right, Daddy? Never, sweetie. You and Noah are the most important things in my world. She hugged me tight and said, "I'm glad you work so hard for us, Daddy. I never thought you didn't work hard enough." Kids are resilient, but they also remember everything. Lily and Noah will always remember the day their mother told them their father wasn't good enough. They will also remember that I was there to comfort them and tell them they were loved unconditionally. As for Paige, the last I heard, she's working full-time at a firm downtown. She lives in a small apartment and dates occasionally, but nothing serious. Robert Whitman moved on to pursuing another unhappy, married woman, probably feeding her the same lines about how she deserves better. The partnership has been everything I'd hoped for. I make good money, I'm building a reputation in corporate law, and most importantly, I can provide for my children without stress. But more than that, I've learned the difference between someone who loves you and someone who loves what you can do for them. Comment. This story reminds us that true wealth is not measured by the balance in our bank accounts, but by the integrity and love we devote to our families. While status may be fleeting, the character we build through hard work and genuine care for our children lasts forever. Let us learn to value partners who stand by us during the climb, rather than those who only want to enjoy the view from the top. Cherish those who love you for who you are, because that is the only success that truly counts. If you like the stories, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.